Yep.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Chef Che.
Is that white line? Oh, that's in the camera. I keep thinking there's like a white line down my shirt. In the camera, you see it? But I don't see it. And I was like, oh, there's something here in my shoulder. No, that ain't it either. I was like, oh, it could be a ghost. But I realized that it's the lines on your screen. Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Chef Che, your LA-based, loyalty-raised music appreciator, and we are back with another episode 22. Episode 22. And we have my co-host, the one and only...
Lisani.
The one and only Lisani. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people that are listening and watching?
Hey, man. How was your week?
My week.
The last 2 weeks, I guess I haven't talked to you on this.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. That's too much.
All right, how you been, man?
I've been good. Let's see. What's popping? What's new?
Anything new?
Nah, man, just hanging with the baby all day. I was hanging out with her. She's growing faster than, I don't know, just really fast. You know what I mean? Because my only reference before that was like, I mean, okay, we have cousins. We saw them as kids, but I don't really remember that necessarily. But like, I was gonna say, I got my dog when she was like only like maybe a year, and like between that first year and like the second and third, I saw like her change, and I saw like her body shift and whatever else, and her little intelligence. So I was like, oh, that's pretty fast. But like, nah, a baby and a human, they grow super duper fast in these first months.
Yeah.
Within the first year,
Yeah.
I'm talking like looks, talking, intelligent. Like it's everything.
Yeah.
Everything is
when
really
you guys came
fast.
over the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like she literally has so many teeth now.
Oh,
Like,
man.
it's nuts.
Yeah, there's that.
You know, her names are changing now. It first was Toot, then it was Two Teeth Toot, because all she had was the two teeth at the bottom.
Yeah.
And now it's more teeth, because it's just too many now
She's
to count.
full. I'm like, are they supposed to be coming in this fast?
Man.
What am I giving you?
Yeah,
So that's kind of what since we last spoke, you know, just that, and then working in the shop.
Right.
Getting ready for a move. Not in the shop, just moving home, moving spaces at
Okay.
home, moving apartment.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And that's about it. What about you? What's new? Anything?
Not much is new, man. You know, I keep it simple, dimple. You know.
You keep it simple, stupid?
Simple, stupid, man. You know. Let's see. I guess I did another turning curve in the stock market. That changed. So my week was really good this week. It was my first like really profitable week, and confident week. So that was exciting. Mm-hmm. I did my first DM slide.
You slid in someone's DM?
I slid in someone's DM, which I would never do, but like I couldn't help it. And I feel like when you have that feeling of like I can't help it, and like it's just like stuck, then you just gotta do it.
Yeah, then sometimes why fight that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's just an urge you probably shouldn't have.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like one of them, like, it's not a negative thing, or you know, the worst that can happen is like rejection, which I don't really care.
Yeah. It's more so it was an opportunity.
Yeah, it was an opportunity, and I follow my energy.
Yeah.
So
that's all it was.
yeah, so whatever.
It's a positive.
Whether it was negative or positive, it's just I was just like, you know, I did my first DM slide. I
Oh,
don't know
right. So yeah, so
because everyone talks about it online, and I'm like, people really do that?
For sure.
And I had my first urge to like DM slide, and so.
All right, so tell me how it went.
It was cool, man.
What did you say? What was your move?
Oh man, I'm not telling you my DM slide secrets. I don't hear nobody else doing that. You don't need no DM slide secrets. You're married.
No, that's not. I'm talking about for people that are listening.
Nah, they don't need it. They good.
Yeah, you brought it up. You ain't. But you're like, I slid a DM. Move on, next subject.
No, I'm not saying move on next subject. It's just like, yeah, I slid in the DM. Oh, look, there's a person down there. I've never seen anyone down there before. You see him?
Yeah, he's been in the orange. He's been down there. I've been watching him since I've been sitting here.
Oh. But yeah, I mean, what did I say?
All right, you don't have to tell me exactly what you said, but you also could say what you said.
No,
but you
I
don't
mean,
have to say what you said,
yeah,
but how did it turn out? Did whatever you say end up working out in your benefit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
sure. Yeah. it's
Good for
fine.
you.
I'm fine. Everybody's fine.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, you just got me nervous all of a sudden.
No, what the heck? This person gets
Anyways.
you nervous?
No.
Then what?
All right. Anyway, so moving on. That was great.
That's what happens. Get yourself entangled.
Definition of entanglement. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just like I don't want to be, I guess, in a relationship right this very second. I just want to be your jealous friend. Do you know what I'm saying? I just want to be like, I want to like you a lot, and I want to be jealous, and that's it. You know?
Oh, interesting.
No, not intentionally want to be jealous. It's just like, I just want to be your jealous friend. That's it. I don't want it to go any further.
That's the first time in my life I've ever heard a jealous friend.
Because I want to build a friendship, right, with whoever I'm dating. And yeah, there's going to be jealousy because there's going to be a moment where you want more and they might not, or they want more and you might not. There's going to be a jealousy moment. And I just want to play right there.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you don't want to jump into a relationship.
Mhm.
You want to be friends. And then you want to experience those emotions those jealousy emotions. And that will kind of let you know, okay, I think I do feel something. Otherwise, why would I be feeling jealous?
Sure. It wasn't supposed to go that deep. Like, you read it like a therapist, where I was just kind of like,
oh, that's just.
I said like a rap line, and you were like, let me dissect it.
Yeah, man. Let's run it through the filter.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so what? That's going to be fun. You can do that with multiple people at the same time? Are you dating around, or do you only want to feel this with one person?
You're sick. Anyways.
How does this work?
Whoa. Hey, so in recent news, though, your dog be dripping. She be spazzing.
Let her live her life.
She literally runs to each window and finds something to be mad at. She's like,
there's so much outside.
he's over there just living his best life.
So much nature for her to get into.
Oh, my Jesus. No, but the Joe Budden podcast, we're a podcast. And it's like, it's always hard to see a podcast break up, especially the way that they did, or it happened. Yeah. So are you tuned into what was going on?
Yeah, on a surface level. Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part I am. Yeah, I don't know. You want my opinion? What do you want? What do you want from me, man?
I just want you to pod with me, dog.
Oh yeah, but let's pod then.
Oh my God.
Let's pontificate. Let's pontificate.
Let's
on this
pontificate together,
subject.
my brother. No, but so yeah, I mean, if people don't know, basically Joe Budden had a podcast with his two, you would think friends, Rory and Mal. And they would kind of just they're music enthusiasts, so they kind of just talk about what goes on in the music industry and politics and stuff like that. Cool. They've been on for what? Over 7 years, I would say. And recently, Joe decided to fire them. He fired Rory on air. He was just disrespectful towards Mal. And it was like, Mal, you need to change your ways and we can talk about it. But you're fired, Rory. So how do you feel about that? Firing somebody on air?
Yeah, man, that shows poor business practice. That shows poor, I think, leadership. Because it's not just you three in that room. There's a lot of people who are watching this, and a lot of people you work with that probably look up to you or look to you towards some sort of leadership role.
Yeah.
And I think for you to air out your grievances or your dirty laundry for everybody to be out to, for everybody to see, I think that's unprofessional.
Yeah.
And I think that, the line probably got really blurry between the friendship business relationship.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so I think Rory, more so, Mal more so is like, he values the friendship more than the business.
Exactly.
Right? And I think maybe that's not the same for Rory and Joe.
Yeah.
And
he's like caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, I do think that
For
Joe,
sure.
I don't, if it came down to that whole financial situation and there was no transparency like there should have been, I do think that falls on the shoulders of Joe.
Fact.
Whether it was intentional or just something overlooked that he didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do think that I wish they worked it out. But not all things last forever. And I'm sure this will push Rory and Mal, maybe even Joe, on to greater Greater pastures.
For sure. Rory and Maul started a podcast. They just released that they're starting the podcast. And that was basically the pilot where they addressed all of Joe's accusations and, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What are they called? Damn, that word just slipped away. It was like I was trying to grab it. You know what I'm saying? You're like...
And the more you try to grab, the worse it gets.
I was like, yeah, and I mean, honestly... Whether it was supposed to happen or not, I just think it could have been done differently. You didn't have to go on air. You could have been like, oh, I showed up and they didn't, and I went on air. It's like, you could have, just like you decided to take a break a week ago or for that 4 weeks, you could have just, but teach his own. But to Rory and Maul, keep doing your thing. Joe, get better.
Joe, get better.
Yeah.
So is Joe Budden's podcast, is that released on YouTube or it's like Joe Rogan where it's specifically Spotify? Because I can watch his episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. I don't think he's with Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Joe Budden. I think Joe Rogan, you remember?
Oh, right. He became independent.
Yeah, so Joe Budden was like the first podcast on Spotify. They got a small chunk and then they realized it was going to work. And then they went and bought Joe Rogan's podcast.
Got it. So YouTube, yeah. So
and
they
then
live
their
on
deal
YouTube
ended,
again.
and then Joe, I guess, teamed up with Cash App and like
right, a few things, right?
Patreon.
Patreon seems to be hot for people.
Yeah. So
speaking of YouTube, I was on the other night and I heard. You ever heard this channel, Real Stories?
No.
Or I don't even know if the channel's Real Stories, but it's like I think it's the channel called Real Stories, and it's just real stories that are kind of like unbelievably true. And so I went through a few of them.
Not like death stories, just like any kind of version.
No. Yeah, it's like kind of like those crime stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but some of them are positive, and some but they have like the negative ones, like not negative, but like the dark stuff. That's what they're known for. And so like for example, like one I watched was it took place in the Philippines, right? This is what kind of grabbed my attention. I was like, oh, something happened in the Philippines. Let me check it out. And so basically, there are these two people. It was a couple. It was a man who was from the UK.
Okay. And
he ended up getting a really good job working in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong and the Philippines, about 2 hours flight. And so when I was there, I actually found that out because a lot of people were visiting from Hong Kong. And I found out that I was like, oh, yeah, this is where they vacation. It's like their Vegas. It's literally only 2 hours away.
Okay.
And so the dude visited the Philippines a lot.
Okay.
And so he ended up meeting this woman in a bar. But a bar there is more so like where women go in the night and meet men, and then they kind of get paid. They pay for the evening kind of situation. All right, so she worked there, and they met. But he kind of it was like Captain Save because he saw her and was like, oh my gosh, you're just too beautiful to be in here. He paid the owner to for him to release her from working there. She came from a small.
Wait. How did he just go over her? It was like, sir, you need to release this pretty young lady from your hands.
Okay. So let me give you more detail on the girl.
Okay.
So the girl, she's not from. So the place that the bar is in one of a main city. Okay. The girl herself is from a small island, like a remote island with no electricity, no nothing. It's a really poor island. And so once she turned 14, or she kind of told her family, hey, I'm gonna go to the island because we need to make money.
Okay.
So she went to this island, and then over the next few years worked in that bar industry, right?
Okay.
And then so at this point, when she meets this guy, she's 17, and he's 25 or something. There's like a 10-year, 12-year age difference. Okay. And so they meet. Now she works there because she's desperate for money. They meet, and he takes her out for dinner.
Okay. Then
after the dinner, he goes back to the owner and says, hey, I'd like to, just because basically
buy her.
Yeah. If he's like, well, you're taking one of my girls and you're taking money from my business. So how are you gonna make this right? He's like, well, I'll give you X amount of dollars.
So she was being pimped.
So they're now in a relationship, right? And so her dream was to just marry an American.
So a trick fell in love. And you're intrigued by this love story right now. When I'm like, this happens in LA every day. But go ahead.
This is gonna get wild.
Oh,
this is gonna get wild.
All right.
So stay in the car with me.
All right, I'm staying.
All right. So they end up falling in love, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, my dream was to marry an American because he's not American.
Okay.
But he's a white man, right? From a UK, whatever. She got what she wanted. So the mom of his mother, she is heavily involved, like in the relationship, not in relationship, in the in the family though. Like
Okay.
she loves the
His
kids.
mom.
Yeah, his mom. She
Okay.
loves the kids, loves the wife.
Uh-huh.
So they like once a year, maybe twice a year, they go to the Philippines and spend some time with them.
Okay.
And so
He's a white man whose mom lives in the Philippines.
no, the mom lives back in the UK where he's from.
All right.
He's a British man.
Yeah.
He moved to Hong Kong for work.
Right.
He started traveling back and forth to the Philippines
Right.
from work to just to vacation.
Yeah.
His mom, who lives back in the UK,
Uh-huh.
came to visit them once a year once they have the family and settled down in the Philippines.
Okay.
And she video recorded everything
Uh-huh.
just because that's when, she just loved to do that. And so, because she's the reason that this all kind of got
Where it is.
where it
Uh-huh.
is. So she's noticing that the wife, as she comes around over the years, she's noticing that the wife is becoming more distant, and then she spends more time on her own on a cell phone. And the wife didn't pay attention that the mom was always recording, and so the mom noticed that like she'd be away on her phone like giggling when she didn't think anybody could hear her. She'd be laughing and like being suspicious, and so they're like, well, that's kind of strange. And then so
It's strange that you're over there happy on your phone.
right, and then so apparently it kind of came out that she was actually having an affair with some like with a nobody basically, and was using his money to give this guy, because so basically the girl they were paying for the daughter to go to a private. They had 2 kids. The older daughter, she was like 4, maybe 3, 4 or 5. They were paying for her to go to a private school, right?
Uh-huh.
And so the husband would just give the wife money to pay all the bills.
Right.
So one morning the dad, like whatever the situation was, he took his daughter to school that morning.
Uh-huh.
Walking to the school, they had no idea who that kid was. They were like, she doesn't go here. So the entire time,
Wait. Before you continue that part,
yeah, the dad. So
the mom didn't stop and be like, "Nah, take her. I'll take her to school."
However it worked out, he ended up taking the daughter to school that day. Walked into the school to drop her off, and they said, "I'm sorry, we don't know who is this."
Oh, this woman. Okay.
So that's when he realized. That's when he was like, "Oh, okay, what the hell? What's going on here?"
Right.
And then, come to find out, she's having an affair with somebody, and basically, they are trying to work things out, but you can tell the wife is like unhappy because, like they're saying, there's always video footage.
Right.
And then so the dad goes on vacation, and he's asleep. He had a business partner that lived in the Philippines with him. It was another British guy. They had a business apartment.
Okay.
Right, and so they were asleep one night in that business apartment. One night, someone kicks open the door,
Boom.
puts a gun up to the other guy.
Oh, okay.
And then he says to one of his friends, there's 3 guys that bust in. He says, "Hey, are you so-and-so?" He's like, "No." And then they go to the other room, and all he hears is words because they're speaking a different language. And he hears his roommate, which is the main guy, the husband, say, "No, no, no." And then gunshots go off. The guys run out the building. He's murdered. The mother knows that the daughter has something to do with it.
Right.
Turns out one of the guys was the girl's boyfriend.
Right.
The girl ends up getting arrested, life in prison, and the kids are now living with the mom. Had to actually steal and smuggle the kids back out of the Philippines to take because the daughter didn't care about them and was just leaving them out. But it was a weird situation. Real stories. This woman had everything she wanted.
Yes.
Cars, house, family.
She was stripping. She went and became a sex worker to make a better life for her and her family. She got their better life and she said, "Fuck it." I did it.
That's crazy.
I did it and fuck it. Yeah, no. And I mean, well, there was a lot of fucking in her system because if she let her dude take the child to school knowing that the child didn't even go to school she'd been telling the husband about, there was some fucking in her system right there. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some people sabotage on purpose. They're like, "Oh, I'm over it. Like I just want it all."
No, that's actually a good point. Like that is, people do that,
Yeah.
like sabotage.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly why.
I've done it.
It's like because they don't feel like it's deserved. It's because they're afraid they can't handle the pressure of having that good thing.
Oh, I guess I've done it in a different way. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage is
But it is real.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
For sure.
Check this out.
What?
This is a short story. There's a guy in this little dirt town in Ohio who was giving out free tattoos for any white man who wanted to get rid of one of the derogatory racist tattoos.
Okay.
And so this one dude comes in, and he has a little 3 minute segment that kind of tells you who he is before he walks in. This is my story. And so he was like, he looks like it. He looks like he was a Klansman, right? Big bald, long goatee, earrings, and he just has that demeanor to him, right?
Yeah.
And then so basically he's like, I lived that life, and it was terrible, and I don't live that life anymore. And he's like, one day my wife and I decided we wanted to have children, but we couldn't, so we tried to adopt, and then we ended up going out to somewhere because that's the only place that we could find a child, and we ended up adopting a black boy. And so this Klansman, and he's like, excuse me, he's my world. I love him to death. He's the best kid, that best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean? And so I was like, my jaw dropped. I said,
I hope he didn't compare that child to
so
sliced
then,
bread.
right? So then he goes into the guy's tattoo shop, and then you get to see what his tattoo is. He takes his shirt off. He's a big dude. He takes his shirt off, and his back
Sonny
is a big ass Klansman in a robe with the cross burning behind him. That's what his tattoo is. And so I was like, oh, you really believed in this when you were in it.
Just imagine how often that son has.
And he said his son is now 12.
Imagine how often his son has seen his back.
Oh yeah.
Whether unintentional.
Oh,
Let that man wear a white beater, you still see a little bit of that little pointy hat, nigga.
Yeah. So my thing is, right? Because I was like, I was trying to think of the psychology behind that, right? Because when you were trying to adopt a child, were you already giving up that life? Because I assume if you were a diehard Klansman and you just so happened to, like, how were you going from 0? You went from 100 to 0 when you decided to adopt a black baby.
Let's start at the fact that they allowed a Klansman to adopt a black baby.
They wouldn't have known.
What? You just said he looked like one.
Oh, but no, I'm saying he didn't have tattoos all over his face. I'm saying, when I say look like, that's being judgmental. I don't really know, but he looked like when you see him, you're like, oh, it doesn't shock me, but you wouldn't have known.
And I would think that you would want to know the tattoos on someone else's body. Like, I feel like you would want to be like,
I think they should do a background check on you.
Yeah, something.
No,
like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I feel like if something were to happen to that child, let's say they give that child, and he ended up becoming enslaved, like we talked about that younger guy, right? Mm-hmm. Who actually ended up being mentally challenged and stuff like that. But anyways, well, whatever. But let's say something happened to that child, and they would have been like, but he has a Klansman on his back. You would not. That would not be acceptable. Mm-hmm. If you wrote that in the news, you'd be like, they let a white Klansman enslave a black child, and he had tattoos of Klansmen and swastikas on his back. Mm-hmm. Sonny, it'd be over.
But I don't know, right? Who knows? Maybe he was out of that life, trying to already get out of that life, and he was part of groups that were anti that, this, that, and the third. But I was like, that is crazy, because that's something that kind of, not that particularly, but I've always wondered, like, there has to be a Klansman out there whose like sister married a black guy. Like, that was as close as I thought that they would get to having a black man in their family. I never thought that a Klansman would adopt a black kid.
They use this for whatever they need. I need a child right now. My wife can't have a child. I need a child. There's no whites available.
Nah, but I'm saying, but there's a super hypocrisy to like whatever he was. Because my thing is, to your point. Well, I'm pushing against your point, because if he was looking at like, if he was a Klansman, he wouldn't settle for a black baby. He's like, I'd rather have no baby than a black baby.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
When they're adopted, they get checked on.
Settled?
They get checked on. You think he's gonna?
I was just on Facebook, and there was a picture of a dude that was racist as shit, talking hella shit, and he turned out, they clicked on his profile picture, and it was him with his black wife. And he was saying the most volatile and disgusting stuff. And they were like, what? So yes, they use us for what they want. He said, oh, I want probably the best sex and big, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I just want some culture in my life and all that other stuff.
So you think this Klansman wants a LeBron? He's like, I might have a LeBron on my hands.
Look, he said, I need a child. He could be a star.
He could
He could do something in sports. Like, yeah, that shit is fucked up. They get us on nerves. And Uncle Ben threw his face on the goddamn rice. Oh, yeah. I was watching Sam Jay's new show that came out yesterday. Oh my gosh, dope show. I think it's called Pause. Dope show.
Where's that show
Congratulations
on?
her.
Where could you find it?
HBO Max. Yeah. They were just talking about, it didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about, but it was just like Uncle Ben was on the fucking rice. Aunt Jemima was on syrup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was talking about how they, that was them thinking that they were giving black people something back when like we had all those, you know, protests during the COVID times.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we'll take Uncle Ben off the. We were like, we didn't even know Uncle Ben was a slave.
Yeah.
Like at all. I didn't. Not
Yeah.
until she said it. I was like, oh my God. I thought he was just like she said, I thought he was the one that made the rice. He was just a rice man. And like, no, he was actually the slave.
It's funny. I was just last night, Patrice O'Neal was saying how this was like an old episode of something he was on, but this was like, it was when
I would think so.
Yeah, back when like Bush was running, and they were trying to see who was. Yeah, they were trying to see who was like gonna run. So they put a picture of like Al Sharpton up, and then Kevin Hart was actually there too. He's like, "That's who I'm voting for." He's like, "Cause we want the black man." And then Patrice was like, "Nah," and then because the host was white, the host was white. He's like, "Any black man that white people love, black people didn't choose."
Ooh.
He said, "We want the black man that all the white people hate." And he said, "So Al Sharpton, I ain't voting for you." It was so funny. It was a comedic. It was funny. It was a joke.
Yeah.
But then Kevin Hart was like, "Nah, you supposed to vote for any man that's black. You sell out."
Damn, that's quite the conversation.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I thought about Kanye when you said that statement though.
What part?
Because he was on both sides of it. You said any black man that white people like is not
the black people is not the person that black people chose.
Right. And I mean, let's just be clear. White people didn't like Kanye in the beginning. Not until he got with Kim, I think, right? Is that what happened? Because he also did the Taylor Swift, so everybody's like, oh my God, we really don't like Kanye.
What happened with Kanye? When did people start liking Kanye?
Was it, no?
Wasn't his Yeezys, it wasn't his shoes, was it?
I feel like it might have been the Adidas shoes. Like once I don't know.
Or was it an album? Or a song?
I don't know. All of a sudden, when he went to TMZ, all of a sudden white people liked him, I thought. No? I don't know.
Actually, I'm not sure either.
We'll
I don't know if it's pre-Kim or it was Kim.
We'll talk it up to Kim. Fuck it. We'll talk it up.
Yeah, it's fair.
I watched a documentary on Scientology. Shit's nuts. Have you ever been to one of their little like temples or intros? I've
driven past them.
Oh. I went inside. On accident, though. Let me tell you my experience. And not until I watched it was I like, oh my God, they were trying to bring me in, and I didn't know. You know, I was young. I was young. I was under 18.
Where'd they
By
find
the way,
you?
fuck you guys, okay? No, so
where'd they find you at? How'd they get you?
When my friend lived with us, and he was a rapper, he would go performing and all this other stuff, and the Scientology Center would be primarily the place he would perform. They would always have.
Oh, they were the one that they booked him?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, like they would always have shows, like showcases for new talent, and they would always ask him to come and perform.
Oh, it's interesting.
It is interesting. And so I didn't know, you know, I would just go, but not until he lived with me and I had to like go early and things like that, I would see the situation. And they were like, they told us to be there at like 5, and we knew the show didn't start till like 7, but we thought, oh, maybe a sound check or something like that. So he was like, let's go early, whatever. We go, and they were like, oh yeah, come. And we were like, why are we in here? You know, why are we in here? And they were like, oh, we're gonna bring you in. We're gonna watch. You guys gonna watch this movie, and then we're gonna take you guys a sound check, like we talked about. And we're like, okay. And Sonny, literally, the video starts, and it's fucking MC Light. And I was like, what the fuck? Nothing but white people in this building. I was like, what the fuck? And it was a theater, and it had like gold. It was a small theater. It had maybe like 16, maybe like 10 seats, right? Oh. Yeah, small.
Black box theater?
It was a small theater they had in their building. I was like, okay, gold, everything. The seats were a little red and stuff like that. I was like, oh, interesting. And that came on, and it was just like, it was like the Star Wars, you know, when it's like, but it was like purple and white. And she was just like, hey, you know, like, you can be part of Scientology too. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, I looked at him and like my homies, I was like, what the fuck is going on? He was like, I don't know. And we just like got on our phone. We were just chilling. And we weren't paying attention because we all were like, it felt It felt mystic.
Did you know anything about Scientology?
No,
before
we
that?
didn't know
Okay.
anything. He just said like we go to the Scientology and then we perform there.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, not until I got older and watched that shit, I was like, yo, they try to get me. They try to make
That's
me MC
crazy.
Light.
Years later.
Sonny. But I knew something was off. You know what I'm saying? I knew something was off. And if I could hit up my homie and be like, yo,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
we was almost Scientologists.
They ever get you?
Hey, it might be.
Wait, well, did you? So wait, you finished the video. They then what happened?
They
did you
talked to
perform?
us. They asked us to if we wanted to join or something like that. We thought we could be part of it, and they asked us to sign papers, and we were like, no, yeah. And I feel like one of my friends didn't even talk. She was just like, she just wasn't even responding. I feel like we all was like, that was some weird shit. Like if we didn't know it was weird, we thought it was racist because it was like MC Light was the only one. It was just all these black faces on there.
Right. So like, say a different group of kids came in
Exactly.
there. MC Light probably wouldn't be on the screen.
It would have been John Travolta or like Tom Cruise or something.
Got it.
But I was like, damn, I could have been a Scientologist.
That's interesting. They have different little load up buttons.
Hit the nigga button, please.
Who's the Asian representative?
I don't know.
They probably got
I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean,
probably
I'm
got
sure
Jackie
there
Chan
are.
in there. No,
Stop it.
Lucy Liu's probably in there.
Why would you do that to Lucy?
Hey everybody, you can be part of Scientology too, and be part of Charlie's Angels like me.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.
Bye. Damn, that's funny. But yeah, so you've never been to a building for sure or anything like that?
I drive past it and look straight the entire time.
Damn. And you notice their buildings are like always empty? It seems like there's not much happening.
Yeah, it all happens inside. What do you think they're gonna do in the parking lot?
I mean, no, it just seems very still.
Well, I don't think those buildings are full. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's popping. I think it has its members.
And it's interesting. And I feel like the government actually knows what goes on, and they just.
I'm sure people in the government are affiliated.
This shit gets deep.
Yeah, it gets deep. How deep you want to go? Nah, that's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode.
Fair enough. Do you know who Dr. Umar Johnson is? And do you know who I don't know what the hell he is. Just Jesse?
Don't be trying to be respectful.
Just Jesse.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
What's his last name?
I know Dr.
Jesse
Umar.
Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen clips of Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse Peterson?
Sure.
Yeah, he's
I
a black
call him
dude.
coon. It's all right.
Not gonna be consistent.
God. Yeah, but I've seen clips of Jesse, and I said that I know enough now.
Yeah, it's like he pokes the bear of being the Uncle Tom. I mean, it's like you know what I mean? He plays that role. He's a troll.
I don't know if he's a troll or a coon. What's the difference?
Let's see. A troll, I think, is
Could be
someone who instigates but knows better.
He could be a troll and coon. A coon and troll.
Yeah.
But it's like in some moments I'm like, he has to know he's an idiot. He has to know he's an idiot.
I think so, but he quick with his responses. Like he don't like he does. It's like he's like, let me think. How can I make?
No,
this
because
he believes what he
has
says.
He has like an org of bullshit. Like he has like 10 commandments of his bullshit, and he just follows those.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
if you say this, then it falls in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you talk about slavery. Well, I'll tell you, I've been on a plantation all my life, and I don't feel like an enslaved.
Yeah, he has like automated responses to things.
Yeah, it's bullshit, and it's all the same stuff. He literally repeats the same stuff, just more ignorant the next time. But anyways, what about them?
Nothing. I just happened to come across him. It was a panel of 4, and I don't really know all the guests, but I just know there was a host. The woman was a host. It was actually her show.
Okay.
And then it was Jesse. And then there was Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
And then there was another gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, it's like Jesse was just saying how people, if you think about racism, what do you say? Those that think racism isn't real, if you think racism is real, you're dumb.
Yes.
And like, basically like, yeah, like he's so off his rocker.
What?
And then Dr. Umar is someone who's the complete opposite. He thinks that every white person is the devil. And like, you know, he's a Pan-African. And
which I don't think he's wrong. But
No.
my thing with Jesse is he said something like he said people need to be more open minded, and I thought to myself, well, nigga, how are you just gonna tell people that they're not open minded, but you're not open minded to like the fact that we could probably be going through something called racism?
Yeah, trying to talk about systemic racism ain't real and all that nonsense. Like, what are we talking about? And Umar did a good job of breaking down what that means. He's like, being white. I'm not talking about a white guy being racist. I'm talking about they're participating in, knowingly or unknowingly, they're participating in. He's like, because when a black guy doesn't get accepted to a certain school, it gives a chance for, he said another white person to get in. But like his stuff is super skewed, right? They're both extremists. But it's just really interesting to just watch these two go at each other, because one was calling one dumb, and they're just like, "Dang, y'all are adults." But yeah, just hearing Jesse Peterson talk is just like frustrating.
Do you feel like Jesse in that interview?
He thinks it's funny.
But do you think his intention was to bring Dr. Umar down to his level?
Yeah, he wanted to.
It felt like that, right?
Yeah, he's like, he didn't take him serious. I don't know about bringing him down to a level. I just knew that he didn't care that he didn't care anything about Dr. Umar. He was just trying to let you know that everything you say is wrong. And
he's so sure. He's so sure when he talks. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
He's like, and the great white hope, Trump, and that. I'm like, what are you saying? And then wait, did you remember that episode? I think that's when we first talked about him.
What happened?
And someone asked him about his son, if he had a son, and he was like, yeah. He said his son don't talk to him.
I was just gonna ask you about if he had kids.
And
I don't
he was
remember
like,
that.
he wasn't able to raise his son or whatever. And the dude was like, how are you out here judging black men for not being fathers, and you are not a father?
Yeah, that makes sense.
He was like, I don't want to talk about my personal. He was like, what? He was like, so have you been married? He was like, married, divorced. He was like, and so you're talking about people having children out of wedlock?
Yeah.
And he was like,
yeah, he says something about that.
Yo, that shit is wild.
Yeah, he says something. Oh yeah, he says having sex out of wedlock, and then someone asked him, so have you had sex since you've been divorced? And he's like, listen, man.
See?
Right.
It's like
he calls women slut makers or guys slut makers that have sex that aren't married.
It's like the government officials that are trying to ban have like trans bans and like LGBT bans and stuff like that, but they the ones at the parties.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me, Or I'll meet somebody in WeHo and it just be like, what the fuck is going on right now? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is happening? But anyway, that's for another day, another time.
Another day, another time. No, you brought up UPS. I just checked something out the other day where I clicked on a video that was like the strict rules that every UPS driver must follow. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? And the only reason I was interested, because I see them every day, right? Because they come to pick up. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let me check this out. And then so the first one is they don't make left turns. Those UPS trucks don't make left turns. If they have to, so out of their entire 100% day schedule, only 10% of their route is left turns, because when you make a left turn, you're waiting for oncoming traffic to be clear. So for them, that's time wasted when you could have made a right turn and just keep making right turns. So they have their routes planned out to a T, and like
that's wild.
Yeah, and if a driver spends too much time at one stop, they get in trouble because the company says you're stealing time because you're taking too long at this one particular location. So like they're super strict because they literally have these people like robots.
Wow.
Yeah, and like they have to enter the truck a certain way, like a 3-point system where like one hand has to be on the rail, one foot has to be on the ground, one other foot has to be like on a stair at all times. There has to be like 3 points of contact. And then
and you learn these rules just for the fuck of it.
Well, I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe. They're like, yeah, so you actually couldn't imagine how stressful this job could be for them when they have to follow all these particular things. And I guess they go to it's like package college or shipping, like UPS school for like 9 days or something like that, and have to like pass this rigorous course and like have to learn like there's like a 350 way method of the UPS. It's like weird.
Wow, it's like a cult.
Super. And they're like, if you ever are around UPS people and you call, like if you're a UPS worker and you're in the office and you just say, oh, my truck is out there waiting, my truck had a flat, you don't call it a truck, it's a package car. They're like, you'll never hear they say you'll never ever hear them call it a truck. They call it a package car.
And what's the do you know the reasoning behind that?
They don't believe it to be a truck. They're like, it's a package car. That's like, they didn't get into it.
Okay, that's a cult. They don't believe it to be a
yeah.
That is not a balloon. Okay?
Yeah, okay, right. And so then they were like, you'll never ever see one of these in use after they're done because they don't want anyone else to have it. So once like a truck is no longer usable, they scrap it down, meaning they don't resell it so anyone else can have it. They just break it down and no one else ever could have a UPS truck vehicle. It's like they're maybe they patent that design or something. It is a distinct shape. I suppose so.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know what it would look like if it was white. If I saw it just all white, a UPS, I don't know if I'd be like, that used to be a UPS truck. But I'm also excited because like we talked about, like this is gonna elevate. Like I feel it in my bones. Like I feel it. And the two most consistent things I've ever been a part of was stocks and this, and they both grown more than I could have imagined. And that's why consistency is real, man. I after like that, and it's funny because I was talking to Kay about something. I think we were talking about the podcast, and she asked something about you. And I was like, well, I said, I knew that he needed to see my consistency before he started to really get involved. I said, because he has a child. I said, and it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you have a child. Like, there's no time to waste. And I was like, so I knew I needed to prove that. And I needed to do that for myself. Like, I was going to do it with or without you, but I knew you needed to see okay, Chelsea's growing up. You know? So... Anyways.
Yeah, man.
Consistency is real. That's all I was saying.
Consistency is real.
Changed my motherfucking life. I wish I would have learned it earlier. I was so worried about fear that I think consistency overrides fear. Because when you're just consistent, you're not even fucking thinking about fear.
You have time to think about it, right?
And I used to write fear on my hand. You remember? I don't know if you remember that, but I used to write fear on my hand to go to class because some days I couldn't get out of the fucking car. I would pay $5 every single day to go to school.
Oh, you told me that. You told me that part.
I used to pay $5 every day to go to school, and I couldn't get out the car. I don't know if it was self-esteem issues. I don't know if it was depression. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I hate walking into class. I hate people looking at me. I hate people talking to me. I was just I don't want to be seen. And like, it drove me nuts. And so I started writing fear on my hand. And when like, I wouldn't be able to get out the car, and I write it in the morning after I got out of the shower. When I couldn't get out the car, I looked down and be like, is this going to be the thing that stops me? And then when I got on academic probation and shit, and that was right before I got on academic probation, they were like, you're done. You're not going to graduate. You're not going to graduate. It's done. And I had to like write a letter to the board, all types of shit. And then I started writing fear on my hand, and I would just go, fuck it. And
that got you through.
Yeah, that got me through. And fear is no joke, man. Changed my life.
Fear is paralyzing.
It was paralyzing.
No, I'm saying not for
no,
you.
It can be. Yeah, it can be crippling and paralyzing. But I'm saying for me, it was paralyzing. Like I couldn't get out the car, Sonny. I paid, and I think I did the amount of money it cost a day to go to school. You know, because I was paying for it. It was like $158 a day, plus the $5 to park. And I was like, every time I was like I was stuck in the car. I was like, I just spent $160, and I didn't get out the fucking car. So I was like, I have to do something. Cold peace, huh?
Yeah.
Changed my life though.
Yeah. It's interesting, like about like college. It's like college. Like I think it depends on what your intention is, right? Or like some people have different expectations to what to get out of college. But like I think college, something that's really important you get out of college is like experiences and like pushing through certain moments, and like I think it does prepare you for real life experience, like real life, like the real world. Not saying it like you have to go, otherwise you'll be screwed. But I do think it offers that. Like, cause like, yeah, same. I had I had an issue with like consistency prior to getting into like the AI.
Really?
Well, yeah. Like if I didn't want to go to class, I wouldn't go to class.
Yeah.
Like I would easily just persuade myself to do something I didn't want to do. If it was something I didn't want to do, I wouldn't do it. Like I was easy doing that, and I'd recognize that in myself. And then so that's when it started with me like not going to class, right? I would just show up to drop you guys off. I was like, I don't have to go, so I won't go.
That shit is nuts. You'd wait, Sonny. You wait. We'd have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive from the Valley to Santa Cruz, and your ass would be. Get out. Like, where are you going at 6 in the morning?
I gotta work.
Where are you going at 6 in the morning, bro?
Work, man. No, those 6 a.m. classes I went to, because that lady was a witch.
I was about to say, or we'd have to go to your 6 a.m. class. Yeah. I'd wait in the car, because that was what, 2 hours or whatever. And then you'd come to the car, because I'd be asleep. You'd come to the car, you'd be like, all right, get out. And then I had to go to school, and you'd leave. They'd be like, Sonny, I swear to God, every time I walk into the school, people be like, where your brother going? I'd be like, I don't know. They were like, he goes at 6 a.m. And I even feel like Azalea even said something to me one time. Like, I see him in the morning class. I don't know if you guys have morning class, but she's like, I see him in the morning class, and then I don't see him anymore. And I remember I see Cyrus and Christian throughout the day. They're like, where's your brother? I'd be like, I don't know. and people, like the black kids, you know, all the black kids come together. They'd be like, how do you know them? Or do. And I'd be like, I have a brother. They'd be like, you have a brother? And I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, he go here? I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, who?
That's crazy.
People did not know we were siblings forever until people started calling you Smush and me like Baby Smush or Little Smush or whatever. And I was like, damn, like you was never.
That's weird, because I was always there up until that moment.
I started going there, apparently. Because I'm telling you, Sonny, they were like, your brother doesn't go here anymore. I even feel like Azalea said that to me, like, your brother doesn't even go here anymore.
Yeah, once rumors got back around to me,
Sonny,
someone,
like, this shit is nuts.
Someone thought I dropped out. I was like, huh? They're like, yeah, I thought you weren't. I didn't know you were in here. I was like, wow, I need to get it together.
MIA. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're like, your brother's never here. I was like, he goes here. Trust me. They were like,
yeah. So
you guys kidnap him?
Yeah, like I took advantage of the freedom, and so. Once though, I realized that I wanted. Once I was in college, there were times where I was like, oh, I don't feel like going today, but I was like, nope. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
You've been there. You've been like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And so, yeah, man, it's just like, but that then I was like, okay, I just began applying that to life at that point. I was like, there's a lot of stuff in life you don't want to do, like a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff you don't want to do. I guess if you just do nothing. Yeah. But you can't. Right?
Yeah. Like I love doing this podcast, especially with you. Like I want to do this podcast. Hate editing. Yeah. Hate. Sonny, you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, I'm telling you something. The hardest part of my life. And I feel like the moment we start making, something, that's where it's going. Because that would make it so this is seamless. But I love it. So it is what it is, and consistency. Oh, that was a good conversation. It started and it wasn't supposed to.
I know. Yeah, I was like, are we rolling or what?
But I think we were just talking and it just kind of like ended up.
Oh, the mics were hot?
Mics are always hot.
Oh, okay. Man, I was looking at like cyber attacks, and so that how like a couple weeks ago, the oil pipeline was hijacked by like the cyber company. All right, so that's kind of what got me looking into it, but apparently, like, these cyber attacks happen on a daily to like different cities and states often.
What do you mean happens to different cities and states?
Like they'll hold something ransom. Like for example, like a cyber company, a cyber group, a hacking group will tap into like Los Angeles's like IRS funds or Social Security funds and say we'll hold all these numbers ransom unless you give us $100,000. And so they'd rather give that $100,000 because it's going to cost them millions in lawsuits that the people aren't getting their money. Right. So they were saying that, yeah, these things happen on a small scale daily, and that the cities just pay because it's cheaper for them to pay than to even have it come out in the news or to even have, the lawsuits that can come with it. And so these cyber people are just like hitting. But like they were saying that like, the new war that could potentially be taking place already. Right. Or the future war would be like a cyber war, right? A digital war. Yeah. Because it's really hard to trace where it's coming from. Right. And you can really hit people where it hurts. Yeah. Their pockets and like, like their essentials.
But when you essentially pay the bribe, right? That's what it is. Pay the bribe. Aren't you worried that next week them niggas gonna come back and say, did it again?
Oh yeah, they're like it's an ongoing issue. They're like, and the problem is there are so many steps ahead of us. So by the time we figured out how they got in, They
It's
figured out a
all-
new
it's
way that they
done.
already figured out a new way to do it again. They were saying that they're like, obviously what they end up, when they do capture these people, they end up hiring them. Because the only people that can catch them are them. Because the people that go to IT, that go to MIT, what are they? They're not coming out with the same info. These hackers that spend their entire life behind a computer in their basement. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you can't use them, you hire them. I mean, if you can't catch them, you hire them.
That's a scary world to live in. Then, like, that's scary.
You got to hire a criminal to catch a criminal. Yeah, it's deep. It's pretty deep. I was like, that's interesting. So yeah, they do pay.
And I mean, even like the pipeline. When I heard like, oh, they paid it and the pipe is working now, it was like, can you give me some more detail? Like, I am part of this country too. Like, can you tell me, like, did we figure out how they got in? Is this never gonna happen again? Like, what, something?
Yeah.
It was just like, no, we paid it. Don't worry about it, guys. Here's your gas. Prices will go down soon. Thank you. See you tomorrow. And I was like, what? But that also reminds me of the new show. It's not a new show, but it's newly released on Netflix, Startup. I was telling you about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of like a cyber, you know.
Yeah, it was like
kind of like a cyber criminal kind of show. And I watched the first episode, the first 2 episodes, and I was like, oh, it's over. It's a wrap. I have to watch this all now. Yeah. And I was like, man, that show is great. I mean, season 3 is definitely rocky, but those first 2 seasons got me through season 3.
Yeah.
It was so good. So if you guys haven't, you guys should definitely check that out. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really. Lumber prices are high. So things cost more. That's all.
What? What?
See you in 2 weeks.
Lumber prices is high. I think that should put you on segment to all the lumber people in here.
Sure.
All right. So the put you on segment this week is that lumber has.
If you're trying to buy a house and remodel, if you're trying to have something custom made, it's going to cost more than usual because lumber prices are higher because last year there was a shortage in supply.
And inflation. Real quick. I went and got a tire because I told you my tire busted. I went and got a new tire. He was like, hey, due to inflation and all the prices, he was like, I know you paid $93 last time, but it's going to be 100 and something. He's like, it's supposed to be $123, but I'm just going to charge you an extra $13 so that I don't make a profit. But I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but sure. Like, I already knew it. He's like, but I'm only going to charge you $13 past $93. So I saved like $7 of what he was talking about.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I don't even think it was $7, like $8. But I was like, inflation's real. That's all I'm saying. You were talking about wood inflation. I'm talking about a tire. Was it a tire inflation?
Yeah, material goods cost more. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Culture Menu Podcast with your favorite host, Chef Che, in 15 Degree Furniture. I mean, at 15 Degree, but it's 15 Degree Furniture. So if you want to buy furniture,
spell it out for them.
Or if you want some furniture for your plants, please tap in. Go to our Etsy. Go to our Etsy or buy everything you can.
Yeah, check out the Etsy page. Search 15 Degree. Will come up.
So, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye, baby.
Bye, baby. Let me sing us out of here.